They're the company.
You can see it on this one, too.
Welcome to our free telephone town hall meeting to provide an important financial update on the state cut and other issues facing the city. This is Mayor Joe Cicero, and I'm joined by Councilman Pat Ward, Finance Director Mary Kowalczyk, Police Chief Rick Porrello, and Fire Chief Mike Carroll. Tonight we will update you on the city finances and other issues for the city. And we want to hear from you, so I hope you'll ask us many questions. If you'd like to ask us a question at any time, just press the 0 key on your phone. For those of you who are just joining us, this is Mayor Joe Cicero, joined by Councilman Pat Ward, Finance Director Mary Kowalczyk, Police Chief Rick Porrello, and Fire Chief Mike Carroll. Welcome to our free telephone town hall. Tonight we will be providing an important update on recent events and other issues. I'll keep my remarks brief, and afterwards I want to answer your questions. Good evening. This is Mayor Joe Cicero. Thank you for joining us tonight for this very important conversation about the future of our city. Joining me is Councilman and Finance Committee Chair Pat Ward, Police Chief Rick Porrello, Fire Chief Mike Carroll, and Finance Director Mary Kowalczyk, along with Councilman Lane Schlessel. Lyndhurst is a beautiful community, and as a lifelong resident, I am proud of the work we have done to keep it that way. While we have communities around us that have struggled, we have worked together and made the changes needed to keep our community strong. Several years ago, when the country's economy went south, we took a smart, lasting approach towards city finances, and we started tightening our belts. A couple years later, the state hit us with the elimination of the local government fund, reducing our revenues even further. This double punch was not an easy one for us to take. We cut our budgets, we reduced staffing, and we made those tough choices. Our efforts have paid off, and not only have we maintained our quality of life, we've worked to improve the way we bring services to you. Our community is safe. Our police, fire, and EMS are there when you call them. Our basic services like trash collection and snow removal keep our city clean and our roads clear. Our recreation facilities have been completely overhauled to save money and to better serve our residents. But now, Columbus plans to cut even more. And even with all the work we have done, cuts from the state of Ohio will leave us $2 million short each year starting next year. These cuts are simply too large for us to take, and unfortunately, we are unable to maintain the current services without additional revenues. In order to protect our basic city services, police and fire, and the value of our homes, Council and I unanimously chose to place an additional 0.5% earned income tax on the August ballot. This choice was not an easy one, and it was the last thing that I wanted to do. But our top priority remains protecting Lyndhurst as a thriving, strong, vibrant city, and the 0.5% earned income tax is the best way for us to protect our community, also with the least impact to all our residents. Over half of the revenue it generates comes from non-residents who work here, and earnings from retirement income like Social Security pensions and other investment income are exempt. This ballot measure makes it possible for us to protect the safety forces we depend on, preserve our property values, and keep our city debt-free. We are hoping to have a nice conversation with you tonight to answer your questions about our city finances, where they stand today, and where we need to be to keep our city strong. Now, I'd like to introduce Councilman Pat Ward for his thoughts. But remember, if you'd like to ask a question, please hit 0 at any time on your keypad.
Good evening. As Mayor Cicero pointed out, we have made big changes in how we do business, which has enabled us to cut staff and save significant dollars. We accomplished this in a big way by introducing an early retirement incentive program and by investing in new equipment, which allows us to render the high-quality services our residents expect with far fewer employees. More than that, our council continually reviews every program and every service looking for economy, and we look at what other communities do as well. We partner with our sister communities in many ways to expand our ability to render service cost-effectively. We closed one pool and reopened it as a spray park. We eliminated debt to eliminate interest expense. We have outsourced services to reduce staff. Our employees have participated with us in annual health benefit reviews to keep our premium costs manageable and a host of other things that help us keep expenses down. I also need to point out that our city employees have participated with us in looking for savings. They are constantly searching out grant opportunities, innovative ways to render service, and have partnered with us to reduce expenses while continuing to provide the quality services we have all enjoyed. They have worked with us by agreeing to 2 consecutive years with no raises. To me, that shows their understanding of our challenges and their dedication to our community. I'm glad that we have our Finance Director, Mary Kowalczyk, with us this evening, along with our Police Chief, our Fire Chief, and Councilman Lane Schlessel to join with us in this conversation. Now, remember, if you have a question, please hit 0 and you'll be connected. Thank you.
Last time we spoke, we had a broad focus on city finances. This evening, I asked Police Chief Perello and Fire Chief Carroll to join us to give us an update on the safety services. Chief Perello, can you tell us briefly how your department has worked through the recent budget challenges and what an additional $2 million in cuts would mean?
Well, Mayor, since approximately 2008, we've had several unfilled positions, including a detective and 2 patrolmen, also a full-time dispatcher. We're down from 31 full-time sworn officers to 29. For patrol officers, this represents a 20% reduction in officers on the streets. We've managed to maintain excellent police services despite these reductions, and though Lyndhurst continues to be a safe community, crime, including violent crime, is increasing in areas around us, and frankly, this is a time when we need more police officers, not less. The drastic reductions the bottom line is that they would result in fewer police officers on the streets. The response time to calls would increase. We'd have a decrease, and this is important, a decreased ability to follow up and solve crimes. Being able to solve crimes and prosecute is an important part of remaining a strong law enforcement presence in Lyndhurst. We would have a potential reduction or likely reduction in the response to service calls like car and house lockouts, disabled vehicles, escorts. And of course, which is a very important issue for me, there would be decreased officer safety because we'd have fewer officers on the streets.
Thanks, Chief. Chief Carroll, can you tell us a little bit about your department and how you worked through the budget cuts that we've already put in place and what an additional $2 million cut will do for you?
Well, under the current cuts, we've tightened the belt quite drastically. In regards to training, we cut our training budget pretty significantly. We've made up for some of that training through online training and some other efforts, but we still have cut the training, which threatens our insurance rating that we have. Currently, we're in ISO 3, and that could easily drop down, which would increase people's insurance rates. We've also decreased our participation in regional initiatives, such as the Regional Technical Rescue Team and the Fire Investigation Team. The purposes of those teams is to share costs across multiple communities, because each one of us can't do it ourselves, but now we've had to cut, so it actually put the burden on other cities. We've delayed capital purchases, such as ambulance and fire trucks. We've stretched them out longer, which has actually increased our vehicle maintenance costs, but we've been able to get through that. We've also decreased our public education opportunities, as well as our hydrant painting program we've cut over the last couple of years. An additional cut would really greatly impact the fire department with potential loss of manpower, which if we lost shift manning, we'd have to take our ladder truck out of service because we would not have the personnel to respond that safely. Incidentally, it's the only 100-foot platform in the Heights-Hillcrest region currently. There's potential loss of our 40-hour fire prevention officer, which would impact the ability to get all our fire inspections done in a timely fashion or completed at all. We would end up eliminating the Youth Fire Explorer program, which has been a model program in the Hillcrest region, which we participate with South Euclid and Mayfield Heights. We'd probably eliminate the community CPR program, again, because we would not have the manpower to support that initiative going forward. Currently, we have the ability to have 3 paramedics on each ambulance. With a cut in manpower, that would be reduced, which could impact us having the ability to respond to the calls with appropriate manpower, and we may get to the point where we have to hold EMS calls because we wouldn't have the EMS, we would not have personnel able to respond. So there'd be delayed response in that. Additionally, on-scene fire tactics would have to change because we wouldn't have the manpower available on scene initially, so we would call mutual aid to have them come and assist us. And we'd actually have an increased reliance on mutual aid, which again puts an undue hardship on our neighboring cities.
Thanks, Chief. For those of you who are just joining us, again, this is Mayor Cicero, joined by Councilman Pat Ward, Finance Director Kowalczyk, Police Chief Perello, and Fire Chief Carroll. If you'd like to ask us a question at any time, please press the 0 key on your phone. Okay, let's go with the questions. First one is Sophie.
Hi, Sophie, are you there?
Hi.
Yes.
I received a letter about the sidewalk, that my share of the sidewalk repair will be $125. Are we responsible for the sidewalks? I think it's the city's property.
Yes, we are responsible for our sidewalks, but Sophie, if you give City Hall a call tomorrow and give them the address, they can go through that with you. Can you do that for me?
Yes, I can do it, but I don't even understand. The people receive letters that we have to pay some share for the repair. I always thought that it's the City Hall property. Right. And also, my question is, why do they not ever clean the snow from the sidewalks? Other cities do it. We are bonded in the house for the whole winter because there is no way to take a walk.
Yes, if you call City Hall tomorrow, Sophie, Mayor Cicero will look into both those for you at 442-5777. Thank you.
Hi, Jeff. What can we do for you?
Mr. Mayor, I did a little research after last Monday's call, and my understanding is there are going to be 2 issues on the ballot in August. Is that correct?
Not to our knowledge, only one issue on the ballot in Lyndhurst.
So there is no repeal of the 50% credit?
No, absolutely not.
I was reading some articles on that, and I was wondering what happened to that.
And thank you for bringing that up, but no, the council put forward a measure that would put the language to raise the income tax by 0.5%, but did not do anything that protects the credit. So does that clarify it for you, Jeff?
Okay, thanks, Jeff. If you have a question, remember, please press 0. Mary Lou, you're up next. Hello, Mary Lou. Hello, Mary Lou?
Mom, you have to answer the question again.
Can I help you?
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes,
I'm as far as the police and fire department go, they're very important to our community, and I don't mind a levy, but I'd like to know why the Cleveland Clinic and Legacy Village don't put some taxes into our city.
That's a great question, Mary Lou. That's a great question, Mary Lou. I'm going to have Mrs. Kowalczyk answer that one for you.
Hi, Mary Lou. This is Mary Kowalczyk, Finance Director. The Cleveland Clinic does produce withholding income and contributes nearly $500,000 to the city in employment tax every year. That is a municipal income tax. Additionally, there are some properties at the clinic that are not tax exempt that'll generate a little over $55,000 a year. Legacy also contributes nearly $500,000 annually in the same withholding tax. That's an employer tax. But it's all part of the same municipal income tax we're talking about today. I would have to estimate Legacy's contribution to the city for property taxes at about $350,000 a year.
And that's just to the city.
That's just to the city.
They provide significantly to the schools as well.
Does that help you? Okay, Mark, you're up next. What can we do for you?
Hi, this is Mark. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Mark.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Hi. I have a question that's maybe a little bit philosophical, but maybe you can point me in the right direction. I'm 64 years old. I have seen a lot of changes over the years. I'm old enough to have seen those changes and young enough to still remember about them and be able to tell you some things. And one of the things that I've seen when I grew up, there was no city income tax, there was no state income tax, and the sales tax did exist, but it was 2.5% to 3%. They gave you these cute little tax stamps when you paid it. And back then, we had fire protection, we had police, we had ambulances, we had hospitals, we had public schools, we had paved roads, we had plowed paved roads in the winter, okay? And things were pretty good, and we had pretty decent employment prospects, and we were the number one nation in the world in terms of economic productivity, if for no other reason that the rest of the world had been bombed into back to the Stone Age in terms of their production. So my question is, how is it that in the past they were able to provide all those services? And I realize, we have a huge increase in public sector unions, so I know that's part of the answer here. But how is it that they could do that, and how is it that we're constantly having to reach into people's pockets to take more and more funds and to have an ever larger government presence? It's not just at the local level. We see it at the state level. We see it at the national. We see it in spades coming from Washington, D.C. My life was actually better early on. Of course, I was a young man then. But I can say that all this increase in public services come with a very high price tag where cities talk in terms of budgets that are many, many tens of millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. New York City, I think they have $1 billion budget in New York City, and it's ever escalating. Can't we do something about this? Can't we return to times that were better? We're on some kind of progressive bus heading out into the desert where we're all going to be paying a big price. Can't we head this off? Can't you see the direction that we're taking is wrong?
Mark, let me stop you there. You are getting philosophical. Thank you. I think to answer your question, I guess the easy way to answer it, it's not 1950, it's 2014. A lot of the things that we got in the years past from government, we don't get anymore. They put a lot of the burden on the backs of the residents. I can't talk for New York City. I can't talk for the nation. What we can talk for is the city of Lyndhurst. And I think that over the years we've tried to do the best job we can being good stewards of the monies that we get from our residents. I'd love to change the system. I don't see it happening in any of our lifetimes very soon. Thank you, Mark. Okay, let's do something here. Let's do a poll. Using your phone's keypad, please tell us what you think please let me know if you think Lyndhurst is a great place to live. If you think it's a great place to live, press 1. If you don't think so, press 2. Next on the line, we have Judy. Hi, Judy. What can we do for you?
Hello?
Hi, is this Judy?
Hi, yes, this is.
Hi, Judy. What can we do for you?
I've lived here since December of 1974, and I really love the community. But my question to you is, everyone in the area has experienced the massive deer population, and I personally want to know what is being done to help people like myself who have put lots of money into our homes and our yards, only to find that we are really being overcome by the poor deer who have no control over the situation except to try to live. It has gotten to a very frustrating point. You don't want to think that you need to move because there's no deer control in your backyard.
Well, I can tell you.
So I want to know I want to know what is being done to try to help this situation in this suburb that, obviously doesn't have a lot more woods left, but the deer are still here.
I can tell you this. You are absolutely right. We have a problem with the deer. We've had a problem with the deer for a number of years. It's a regional problem, and it's very difficult for an individual community to attack that problem. What we are doing, and we have just started in the last 4 months, is we're coming together with local neighboring communities to create a wildlife management team. Upcoming this winter, we're going to assess the number of deer that are in this whole area and work with the Cleveland Metro Parks and some of the other experts to find a solution for the overpopulation. It's not going to be something that's going to be taken care of overnight, but what I can tell you is that along with 8 other communities, we are working to solve this problem the best we can. Okay. We got results of the poll. 89% of you think Lyndhurst is a great place to live. I thank you for that. Let's keep it that way. Mary, you're on the line. Mary, what can we do for you?
Yes, thank you. First, I wanted to say that I've lived in Lyndhurst since 2008, and I'm a first-time home buyer, and I do think that Lyndhurst is a wonderful place to live. I have voted for every tax increase as well as the school levies, and I don't have any children in the school, so I understand the importance of a strong community, and I thank the police and fire for their service. I think it's exceptional. However, I will be affected by the income tax increase, and I know that you got to do for the others that won't have to pay, those on, Social Security and, those members of the community that may be calling police and fire more than some others. My question is, and I don't know how I'm going to vote yet because, every year I get more taxes withheld and my paycheck's getting smaller, and I'm afraid that I won't be able to make home repairs as a result. I got to pick and choose like we all do. But I'm hoping that what you're telling me is if I vote for this and it passes, that my home values will be on an increase because, I've got a strong community. Our school system isn't not so much, but I'm hoping that, with the service we can provide, we uphold our licenses and all. My question is to the finance director. You mentioned about getting rid of our debt, or someone did. I'm sorry, I don't remember who. What other revenue-producing ideas are out there? Do we get money from recycling? How should we have a campaign that we get money for, more money or more recycling? Traffic violations. The police chief, I live off of Richmond, and I'm sorry, I don't see police traffic presence as much as I did a few years ago. I travel down that road a couple times a day to and from work, and let me tell you, I've got people going 60 by me, and boy, wouldn't I love some more traffic revenue. And What about, is there a business director? Mayfield Road is looking a little iffy on new businesses. Do we have plans to generate, some interest in our community? So that's my question. Do we have plans out there to increase revenue as well as, increasing the tax for income? That's my question.
Mary, those are tremendous observations, and you're correct. What we've done is a multi-pronged approach. So, we cut our expenses. That was primary focus. Our employees have brought us innovative ways of doing everything from collecting our garbage. When you want to talk about recycling, we partnered with other communities to raise the volume of recyclables so that we're actually getting money instead of paying or getting nothing. We're constantly tweaking our programs. Our business on Mayfield, we have one that just broke ground today, actually, across from City Hall on a brand new site. So, that's positive, and we're working with our developers and the property owners to help them in any way we can as a community. I'm going to turn it over to Mary Kowalczyk, who's our finance director, to speak to part of your question, but you mentioned the traffic stops, and, those are getting more and more complex as well. How many traffic stops do you see with only one cruiser? It's a different world out there, but Mary, do you have anything to add?
Mary, very quickly, in the past, several years, we've added EMS collections. That alone has generated over $3.1 million. We had a major remediation grant given to the city that assisted some development in the city that was well over $2 million. The fire chief just wrote a grant for a piece of equipment in which we received the maximum from the Bureau of Workers' Comp totaling $40,000. We've added rental registration fees to keep track of the property that's being rented out in the city. We receive oil and gas royalties, and we've collected on some back due amounts on those. But you did speak directly to recycling. I want to assure you we do receive about $30,000 a year. And we would probably request that you call the service director. He'd be thrilled for anyone who wanted to assist him with that program to improve those royalties.
Thank you, Mary.
Okay, one more poll. Thinking about the police, fire, and EMS and basic city services like snow removal and trash pickup. Press 1 if you think we do a good job providing those services, 2 if you think we're adequate, and 3 if you think our services could use some improvement. We'll take another call. Next up is Wanda. Hi, Wanda. Hi, Wanda.
Hi, my name is Wanda. Hi. Since I pressed 0 to ask my question has been answered when you responded to other people who are on the line, so I no longer have my question anymore. Okay?
Well, thank you for calling in. I appreciate it. Next up is David. Hey, David, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. What can we do for you?
Yeah, I had just a few questions. The first one is, what is your guys' estimate on how much revenue this 0.5% increase will generate for the community of Lyndhurst?
Okay.
That's my first question. The second one I had was, you did talk about the three-pronged approach, that you had cut some expenditures. I was curious to see what that really was, and because I see that our community has shrunk, and now we are landlocked. There's not many more houses available. They're not being built. So I would expect that services would actually also go down in cost, and it doesn't seem like it has been that way. And then just as a side note, you guys have great services. Yeah, you have the police and fire. I just am curious to see how does that relate with other communities if we're a little oversaturated. We're providing, you can't have too good of a service, but if we have too much for this size town. And lastly, I know I've said a lot, though, is that one service that comes to mind that could be cut almost, I love this because I do a lot of home projects. I'm fixing up a house. I moved here in 2009. We love the area, but the taxes we always felt were a little higher than surrounding communities, is that over the weekend you can bring your rubbish right to the city hall, but we're doing that 2 days a week every weekend. I know it's not going to solve a $2 million, budget deficit, but if we cut that to every other weekend, that would save some money right there. So if we're doing these, that's just a little part of it, though. But thank you.
Okay. Thank you, David. Those are great observations, and I'll start with the weekend garbage. I mean, you'd be surprised at how little that actually costs us, and we do review these things, but it costs us about $8,000 a year in overtime, and that includes the drivers that drive the trucks to the dump. They come in early Monday morning, but then they start out with a fresh truck. And we have to remember also that the garbage that is delivered to them on Saturday and Sunday would have to be picked up anyway, so that work still needs to be done. So, that $8,000 figure gets a little diluted, and it's a great service that people really, really do value, and it's for not a lot of money. So certainly that's something that we do constantly look at, though, and you're correct, we should look at that. We do look at all our staffing, and as Police Chief Perello mentioned earlier, we're doing without for longer periods of time. We're not backfilling positions. We study every single position before we fill it to assure that we're at the right levels for the calls. We get reports from all our departments as far as their volumes and staff accordingly. Chief Perello, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I'd just like to add, we've managed to maintain, I think, excellent police services over the years since back in 2008, despite a reduction of about six or seven employees. And Lyndhurst continues to be a safe community, but crime, including violent crime, drug abuse, it's increasing in areas around us, and it's a threat. Frankly, this is a time when we need more police officers, not less police officers.
And we do need greater vigilance. Certainly, we're battling this left, right, and upside down. There are epidemics out there that we want to keep at bay. Mary?
Additionally, we look to generate, after the third year, about $2.1 million, and that's to plug the hole from the current state cuts that we've experienced. But that will be, we won't actually see that amount until the third year.
Thank you, David. Ruth's on the line. Ruth, how can we help you?
Hi. I made a comment before. I wanted to compliment the EMS and the fire department because recently I had a fall in my front yard on the lawn. I slipped and fell and I hit the curb. And I had to, I was very impressed by the response time of EMS. They were right there. They came to my house and took me to Hillcrest. And they did an awesome job. And like I said before, I understand the police because I have a son-in-law that's a police officer, and I know how vital that is. Crime is rampant everywhere, not only here, and I don't know why people don't realize that it's sad, but it's a fact of life. And I wondered, as a senior citizen, what could I do to help promote or to save money, so to cut the cost down for the city so that we can keep these people because they are valuable and we really need them.
Well, thank you for your comments, Ruth. We really appreciate the compliments, especially the fire department. They always love compliments.
Thank you very much.
Who's our next caller? Paul? Paul, are you on the line with us? Hi, Paul.
Yeah, hello. Hello, how are you all tonight?
We're doing well, thank you.
Great. It's an interesting conversation here. I've heard a number of things that I really appreciate hearing. My issue is that the state has decreased my income tax and increased my sales tax. And now you're suggesting we increase our local income tax. The only sense I can make out all this is maybe it's net slightly in my benefit, but I doubt it. But nonetheless, the only benefit I see here is we get to choose how we spend our money a little more narrowly in our local community versus the state making decisions. Albeit, I think the state spending less around our local communities contributes to the crime level since they have an average lower income and they're even less likely to raise their taxes or afford better services themselves. But to get to the point here, what about this increase would make be an opportunity or an advantage for Lyndhurst that would distinguish us from other communities nearby, or help us stand out. So take advantage of the fact that it's local spending versus state spending, and what kind of thinking is involved there. And that's my question.
Thanks, Paul. I think the best way to answer it is what we're trying to do is preserve what we have today, the type of community that we live in. You can look around Cuyahoga County and see communities that are in dire straits. We've always said we will do everything we can to make sure that we preserve the quality of life that we have within our community and the services that we give our citizens. I truly believe that people move into a community because of what is offered to them, both in the services, the location, and the schools. It's important for us to make sure that we maintain that so the value of your home stays as high as we can. Thanks.
We have a special guest. Sarah, how are you this evening?
Hello,
Sarah?
this is Sarah Dorn from Northeast Ohio Media Group. How are you guys?
We're great. How are you?
Hi, Sarah.
Good. Thanks for taking my call. So I'm fielding some questions from readers, and one reader asked, if the tax increase does not pass, how many policemen, firefighters, and service workers will be laid off? Please provide an exact amount and projected layoff time.
Well, that's a difficult question to answer, Sarah, because until we know what we're dealing with and what reserves come back and how we spend our money throughout the year, what hits us emergency-wise and not, those are kind of hard to say. What we have said is that whatever cuts that we have to make will be dismantling the various departments within the city, and every department will be affected with some kind of layoff or cutback in major service.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. We appreciate the call.
Ed? Ed, are you with us?
Yes.
Yes.
I have a question about the loss of revenue to the city based upon the fact that that private golf club is now Metro Parks property. I'm just curious as to how much tax revenue was lost as a result of that.
Well, as a golf club, as a recreational use, the property tax was approximately $188,000 to the city. We lost admissions tax, which was about $60,000 to the city. So it was about $250,000 per year as a private golf club that we lost. But we also lost the opportunity to responsibly develop that property for housing and perhaps an office park. So that was our economic development opportunity for the future, which was lost when it was sold to a conservancy. But thank you for that question.
Hi, Judy. What can we do for you?
Hello. My name is Judy, and I would just like to say I'm happy to live in Lyndhurst. I think Lyndhurst is a wonderful community. I would like to, I don't have a question, but my statement is that or maybe it is a question, is part of the reason for the increase in the income tax because of the loss of revenue from the estate tax, which was perpetuated by the state of Ohio. That's my question. I continue to support Lyndhurst, and I will do so in the future, but I'm just wondering if how much of that money was that you need is because of the loss of the estate tax revenue.
Great question, Judy, thank you. A large portion of what we're asking for in the tax increase is because the estate tax was taken away from local municipalities. The state of Ohio, as of today, has $1.4 billion in their rainy day fund, which is great for the state of Ohio, but it doesn't help municipalities in any way, shape, or form.
Or school districts.
Or school districts, for that matter. Great question. Thank you for your support as well. Next on the line is Frank.
Hi.
Hi, Frank. What can we do for you?
Well, I may be talking apples and oranges, but no one is talking about the elephant in the room. I live and I work in Lyndhurst, so the tax would affect me directly. I pay more than two-thirds of my taxes right now for a school system that is underperforming. I've been living in this area first as a single man, then married in South Euclid, then the last 8 years in Lyndhurst. My kids went through the school system. When we started out in 1987, it was an outstanding school system. Today, it is mediocre at best, and yet we're paying more and more for it. Former superintendent that double-dipped, retired, that hired again at a lesser amount, teachers that are doing the same. I think we're wasting the money here. So although I understand where you're coming from, and maybe the levies are separate, and we, like I said, I may be talking apples and oranges, but as a citizen of Lyndhurst, and I do enjoy living in Lyndhurst, and the services are great, but as a citizen, I have a small piece of land. I pay $6,000, a little over $6,000 a year in real estate taxes already. Why are we doing nothing about that and are looking instead to add more taxes? Taxes is not the answer. It's not how much you make. It's how much you spend. I have to run my house on a limited budget. You know, how does
Frank, that was a great question and a great observation. But out of your property tax bill, that $6,000, the city of Lyndhurst gets 11 cents on the dollar. The county gets more than we do. We understand the perception that the schools are struggling, but we do have a new superintendent who's excellent. We have a wonderful school board that is working at every turn to get things turned around, especially the perception that our schools don't offer a good product, because they do offer a good product. You have council people on your city council who are involved with the schools, that go to school board meetings, that worked with the schools on their strategic plan. We're doing what we can, but we're also working on a tight budget as well. Thank you.
Madeline, you're up next. Hi,
Hello.
Madeline.
Hello. I just had a comment. I didn't have a question. After living in this area, then moving away and moving back, I've been back since about 2003. I'm just so impressed by the quality of our services. The entire staff at City Hall. I can't tell you the amount of times the service department has gone out of their way to help me with something. I see a ton of police on my street. And, you know, having lived in a municipality where I had to pay for trash removal, where the roads weren't clean, where it was hard to get anybody at City Hall, I'm just very appreciative that I have those services, and I don't mind paying a small amount of my income to continue them.
Madeline, thank you for those comments. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Madeline.
Yep.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, if you'd like to ask us a question, please press the 0 key on your phone, and we will take your question. Next up is Kathy. Hi, Kathy. What can we do for you?
Thank you
Hi,
for
Kathy.
taking my call. Hello.
Yes, how are you?
Yes, fine, thank you. And you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. I'm a longtime resident here since 1972, and I've loved living in Lyndhurst. And I don't mind so much that this income tax is going to be on the ballot, because if you look at surrounding communities, we're going to be pretty much equal to them. We've been pretty low as in comparison to other ones. But what my question is why is it going to be a special election in August as opposed to waiting till November? Because it costs more money to put on a special election.
Thank you, Kathy. This is Pat Ward speaking, and that's a very good question and a great observation. The only reason was the timing. If we waited until November to get this matter resolved and to know where the city was going into 2015, the administration would not have sufficient time to put together a budget that matches the resources of the community. By law, the administration must present council with a budget that represents the resources available. That is our carryover balance plus estimates of income tax and property tax and any other income that's coming into the city. If we waited until November to find out, it would not be enough time, and so that is why we opted for the special election. But very, very good question. Thank you.
Hi, Gary. You're up next. Gary, how are you?
This is Gary. Yes, first of all, kudos to the service department. We in Ford Road appreciate them so much. When we've had 3 or 4 storms go through here and knock trees down, those guys were out Sunday in the rain, etc. So kudos to the service department. My question to you is, where's the building department? I sent a detailed letter, I'm going to say 6 to 8 months ago, to the inspection department, the Lyndhurst Inspection Department, about a property line neighbor that I have who hasn't done one thing to his house since he's inhabited the house. And all of our neighbors are very concerned because, as all of your callers have indicated, we try to keep our homes up. We're proud of our homes. We're proud of Lyndhurst. This guy is doing nothing, and it's bringing my value is low enough as it is with the economy the way it is right now. I don't need him to further decrease the value of my property. I can't do anything but ask you to maybe ask the inspector to get over here and do something.
Hey, Gary, would you do me a favor, so it's not on this conference call, but give my office a call tomorrow, and I'll take care of it personally. Okay? Thank you. Next up is Joe. Hi, Joe. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. I have a question, but I just wanted to respond to that last call because I've had the opportunity to call the building department 3 or 4 times over the last couple of summers regarding neighbors that don't cut their grass or vacant houses that aren't getting cut, and the city always takes care of it immediately. I'm very impressed with that, and I've never had any problems with the building department. I don't know what's going on with that situation, but my question was, earlier a caller talked about enhancing the revenue, and we have Legacy Village over there. I noticed that Crocker Park has greatly expanded, and they have the added advantage of some housing there. Are there any plans? Do you know of any plans, or has anything been suggested to do that at Legacy?
Good question. I can tell you this, there's always some plans going on with Legacy in one way or the other, whether it's enhancing the existing retail stores that are there or moving to bring new development to the area. We're always talking to them. We're working in conjunction with their management company and the leadership there. So all I can tell you is just keep an eye open. Again, if you'd like to ask a question, just hit 0 on your keypad, and we would be more than happy to answer it. Next, we have Helene on the line.
Hi, are you there?
Yes, we're here. What can we do for you?
Okay, well, here's my question. I did get a recorder call telling me about this meeting and the last one and our concerns about our budget deficit. And I understand that in today's times, every penny counts. But I'd like to know, what are we doing from within the city to cut our expenses? I got a notice about this meeting, and the next day I got a lovely 5 or 6 page glossy printed newsletter from the city. That's something that we could cut back on. I realize it may be, a small pittance compared to what our deficit is, but all these little bits add up. I'm on disability. I have to live on a fixed income, and I think our schools and our city needs to live on a budget too. People just
before
don't.
You go, Thank you, Helene. Before you go, I'm not sure what glossy multi-page thing you're talking about because we haven't sent anything like that out. So I'm not sure what that is. If you'd like to get me a copy of it, that would be great. The other, to answer your question, we do something every year to inform the citizens about the finances of the city. It always comes around this time of year or in August. This is totally to educate the citizens of Lyndhurst about the monies that they pay in tax dollars and the services that they're providing. So we're trying to just keep everybody informed and up to date on what's going on in our city. Thank you, though. Next on the line is Nikki. Hi, Nikki. What can I do for you?
Hi. I've lived in Lyndhurst all my life. I was born here, moved out for a while, and came back. Couple of comments. I think it was Gary who was talking about the property values in our neighborhoods and the question as to why some people don't have to keep their properties up while others are breaking their backs to keep them going. I've called the service department a couple times on the same people. One is a dilapidated garage in our area, and one is a person who feels that they don't need to have gutters, and nothing has been done about this. I'm not understanding that. And I also want to comment to Chief Perello. He says that it's time that we need more police because of the crime in the surrounding neighborhoods and not less police. I think it's time we need less criminals.
Absolutely right. You tell me how we can do that, and I'll be on board with it.
That was great. Nikki, just to your question, first, two things. If you have a specific address, we do have a stringent requirement on gutters, and our building department is really on top of those things. I can't tell you, I talk to them every single day, and rarely do I stump them and give them an address that they're not already familiar with. But if you could give Mayor Cicero's office a call tomorrow with those specific addresses, I'd like to make sure that he's looking into those personally, or one of us gets that. So if you could do that, that would be awesome. Thank you so much. Anita, you're on the line? Hi, Anita.
This is Anita. Are you there?
Yes, we're here. How are you today?
I'm okay. I'm aware that what we're talking about is not a short-term problem. And in fact, in 3 years, you say you don't know that the shortfall will be met. I think other cities around us are having the exact same problem. I'm wondering what you have done in terms of thinking in a regional way, of regional governance. That means some people losing their jobs or combining jobs, and also regional purchasing.
Anita, those are great points. Again, number one, regionalism as far as, we just had several communities in the East Side look at regionalism and joining together, and the study that they commissioned showed that there wouldn't be a significant savings. Regionalism in services is something that we do. We do that every single day. We have our police work with the Suburban Police Anti-Crime Network. That's 6 communities. Our fire department works with all of their technical rescue, rope rescue, water rescue, any of the disciplines are approached regionally. We just redid our dispatch center due to a lightning strike, and our fire chief and police chief have been marketing that service out to other communities as well.
And just to give you an idea, too, of the callers that are on the line, of one of the things that we're pursuing, I'd like Chief Carroll to explain one of the programs that we're working on now and looking at for the future.
The fire department, or the city of Lyndhurst, as well as 6 other communities, participate in the Cleveland State study regarding forming a regional dispatch center. So, we are trying to reach out to our neighbors and our partners as much as possible to share services. As Councilman Warren indicated, even when we did our dispatch center, we approached other communities to participate in our center. So we're doing our due diligence and exploring all options on the services that we can share and combine to decrease every community's costs.
This is Chief Borello. I'd just like to add also, we recently put together a regional drug enforcement unit to address increased drug abuse in the area and the subsequent violent crime and property crime that go along with that. And I should add that this is a part-time unit. The officers come from the police officers who work the streets, and this is the only part-time drug enforcement unit in the area. So I think that's important to point out also.
Next we have Sandro. Hi, Sandro. Sandro, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. How are you? What can we do for you?
Yeah. I got a question about like road repairs and like painting on the lines on the street. I do a lot of traveling, of course, in our city and nearby cities, and I've noticed that like cities like Pepper Pike and Beechwood have gotten like the coal patch down already. And they actually did that a couple months ago. I know work was done on the bridge on Brainerd between Falkirk and the bridge there, but there's still some other parts of that bridge on top of the bridge there that still need to be. They still got some big holes in there. You know, so I was just wondering, like, if some other, you know, some of the potholes have been patched up, because I've noticed on my street they haven't, and some other nearby streets too.
You know what? I was pretty sure that we were on top of that, but what I will do is make sure that I talk to our service director tomorrow and let him know that there's some potholes out there that still need to be filled. We do have a very aggressive road program that's going on right now, so if they haven't been there, I can tell you that they will be there. But give me a call and we'll see what we can do about it. Sandro, just call the office tomorrow. Thanks. Next up is Tim. Hi, Tim.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I just had two quick questions. One, we've mentioned Legacy Village a couple of times, and I think if I remember correctly, at one point in time we were thinking in terms of giving a tax abatement to Legacy Village for a certain period of time. I'm wondering if there are any tax abatements, and if so, if we see them expiring and the impact they may have to help our revenues. And then secondly, I thought it was admirable to hear that some of our departments have frozen the wages. Certainly the service department, you asked, they've been extraordinary. We do have an excellent service department. I think it's admirable that folks have taken it upon themselves to restrict pay increases. But the question I have in regard to that, would it be possible to get a further commitment for perhaps another year or two of a wage freeze, in light of the fact that a lot of the citizens of Lyndhurst haven't received pay increases for 4 or 5 years, ever since we got into this recession? And I would think it would be a little bit of a selling feature for the city income tax to the voters, knowing that the city employees and officers of the city are in the same predicament they are.
Good questions, Tim. Thank you. The first part of your question is tax abatement. Legacy Village never had tax abatement, never asked for tax abatement, and to be absolutely honest with you, if it wasn't for Legacy Village, the city of Lyndhurst would have been in terrible shape many years ago. Legacy Village has been a tremendous asset to our community. Second of all, what our employees did was very admirable, and I agree with you. And I can never say that council and I could take credit for everything that's gone on and the money that we saved. It's a joint effort from our employees as well as the elected officials. We negotiate contracts with our unions. We have 8 unions in the city. Those contracts are negotiated for anywhere from a 2 to a 3-year period. After the 2 years of no increase, we negotiated, I thought, and they agreed, a very fair and admirable contract with them. That contract comes up at the end of next year, and we are in the process of now beginning those conversations. We'll see where that goes with this tax increase. Thank you. Next up is Alexander. Hi, Alexander.
Hi, my name is Alexander, and I have a question. Probably it's to Police Chief Borello. would some program like Citizens on Patrol, sure, with full cooperation and the police guidance, help to fight a crime in our city? Just as well, help to prevent a fire. And I would like to participate, and it's a lot of volunteers who will participate in this program.
Alexander, we do have an auxiliary police division. It's staffed with 12 officers. They are an excellent addition to the police department. They are mostly volunteers. They do receive an annual stipend, and they are utilized for a variety of circumstances, including traffic control. They come out during storms. They help during parades. They patrol the parks. They're a great benefit to the police department, and we are always looking for quality candidates. Certainly, if you are interested, or you know of somebody else that's interested, you can call my office. I should say that these are not state certified peace officers, so they're not sworn officers, and that they're not armed, and they do not have arrest powers, but they are certainly an important component of the department and a force multiplier.
Thank you very much, Alexander. Okay, our time's almost up. I'm going to ask for one final question, and then I'm going to conclude tonight's event. Diane, you're the lucky one. You get the last question of the evening. How are you?
Fine. This is Diane, and all of your excellent callers have asked just about every single question I was going to ask. I was wondering, where can I see the exact language that's going to be on the ballot, and is there any guarantee, I know that's maybe a broad word, but that if we pass this, that you're not going to turn around and then try to undo the credit for those of us like me who work downtown Cleveland?
Good question, Diane. Good way to end it up. First of all, to answer your question, as far as the language, you can find that online, our website, I believe.
In the website, Diane, there's a section that specifically speaks to legislation. You click on that, you'll be looking for ordinance number 2014-32.
And to answer the second part of your question, if this, or I should say when this tax increase passes and is put into effect, when the city starts receiving 100% of the tax increase, if nothing changes economically in the condition of this country and the city, and we don't anticipate it to change greatly in the next few years, we're hoping that this will last 8 to 10 years. The tax credit will remain in place because we think that that's important right now to our residents. So what we're hoping to do is pass a tax increase, maintain the vitality and the vibrancy of our community, and continue to make this a place where we all want to live. Like I said when we started out, I was born and raised in this community, and I don't want to see this community deteriorate. And I don't want to be the mayor that's sitting in the office that has to begin to dismantle the services that we've all grown to love. So with that being said, I thank you all for being a part of this call tonight. I thank both Councilman Schlessel and Councilman Ward, Chief Corello, Chief Carroll, and Mrs. Kowalczyk for being a part of this. As I said before, we are all available to you, either online. You can call any one of us. We will do our best to answer your questions. And again, thank you for being with us this evening. If any of your questions didn't get answered, please leave a voicemail after this call, and one of us will give you a call back. Good night.